What's up, everybody? Eric here from the Mature Minded Gamers, and today we're breaking down Hytale patch notes for Update 2. This was just posted January 24th in 2026. That's today as this recording. This update is packed with quality of life improvements, balance changes, world generation updates, and some pretty cool new gameplay additions. I'm going to walk you through the best parts, top to bottom, and explain what actually matters for you and your gameplay. All right, let's jump right in. All right, starting off with the cosmetics and customizations. And honestly, this is a pretty big win for players to be able to customize their character and, show some expression. We've got a bunch of new avatar customization options. So added for everybody, including things like the bandit mask with a side knot variant, blindfolds with thick variants, and even bandage blindfolds that can be worn on the left eye, right eye, or both. They also added new mouth options, including a vampire mouth, a cute mouth, and an orc mouth, which is great if you're leaning into the role playing side of things. One small, very welcome change is the addition of white as a color option for the fantasy cotton cosmetics. This is going to give a lot more flexibility for cleaner looks for characters to really theme out their outfits. Several haircuts also received visual updates, including a single side pony, tail, hair sticky buns, simple bob cut, fighter buns, smart elven, and windswept. So if you use any of these, they will now look cleaner and more polished. One of the best quality of life updates here is the new armor variant toggle. You can now toggle armor slots directly from the character panel, letting you show off cosmetics without unequipping your gear. Server hosts can now enable or disable this for PvP or immersion rules, whatever you want, which is really a smart move in my opinion. And finally, capes now have been improved with improved animations when running, which is just makes movement feel more slick overall. All right, next up, we're going to talk about gameplay and balance. Moving into this section, we've seen some big important changes. So first off, there's a new item that allows you to raise skeletal minions from nearby bone piles. This item has a chance to drop from large skeletons, and this opens the door for more summoner-style gameplay, especially for dungeon runs and mob control. Next up is mining progression. It got a major adjustment. Adaminium now requires a thorium or a cobalt pickaxe to mine, and lower pickaxe tiers now deal much less damage to the higher tier ore blocks. The upside here is that upgrading your pickaxe now actually feels impactful because higher quality pickaxes are going to really reduce the number of hits required. Polar bears have been buffed, so expect them to be more dangerous than before. They've also added more decorative recipes for the furniture bench, which builders are going to just love. Several NPCs now drop medium hide instead of light hide, including the bison, the boar, the cow, the horse, and the warthog. This helps smooth out the mid-game crafting progression. The magma toad has been reworked. Its tongue damage has been reduced, so it's now alternates between its tongue attack and a new ability, the headbutt ability. This should make encounters feel less frustrating and more readable. Petals are now craftable in the furniture bench under the textile category. So since yellow petals can be farmed from sunflowers, all the colored petals crafting is now fully renewable. On top of that, lighter variants for each cloth block can now be crafted using petals, which is another great addition for builders. All right, let's move on to world generation. This is going to be a big one, especially for modders and explorers. So World Gen version 2 has been prepared for the public documentation, which is huge for the modding community. New default flat, default void templates have been added using the World Generation 2 engine, and the Creative Hub portal now spawns using this new system as well. This results in clear weather and limited fog, but it only applies to new creative worlds, so keep that in mind. There's also been a major refactor of ore placement across all zones. You will need to explore new chunks in existing worlds to see these changes, but the result is more ore overall, especially in devastated lands and underground areas. All right, let's move on to farming. Farming got a ton of love in this update. Eternal crops will no longer break from accidental weapon damage, which is a massive quality of life improvement. Tilled soil now lasts longer, between 1.2 to 1.5 days, and soil decay under fully grown crops has been fixed. You can now hold torches in your offhand while using hose and seeds, which just feels right. Breaking fully grown eternal crops will now drop their seeds back, and harvested crops can be placed on the ground while crouching. So the hoe crafting has been rebalanced as well. Recipe costs have been adjusted. Hoes now unlock at different farming bench tiers. Copper is now tier 2 instead of tier 4. Iron is tier 4 instead of tier 8. And thorium, it has been added at tier 6. So farming progression should feel more smoother overall. All right, let's talk about the UI and UX interfaces. They got a ton of polish in this patch. Editor block tooltips have been improved, and color names now display when hovering over color options in the avatar customization menu. The hotbar, the active slot, is now much easier to see thanks to increased contrast and a diamond indicator, especially in bright areas like the Howling Sands. This is going to be make it much better. Memories are now sorted alphabetically when viewed through the heart of Orbis. Scripted brushes received major quality of life updates, including new decorations, cave bushes, removed redundancies, and bug fixes. All right, inventory interactions have been improved across the board. This double clicking is more responsive now. Shift clicking armor will auto equip it if the slot is empty. And the court shortcut keybinds have now been added to the quick actions like sorting and quick stacking. So it'll make things a little bit easier. One of my favorite additions is the FPS counter overlay, which you can now enable under General. Under Interfaces, your FPS will display in the top right corner of the screen. My last video I posted was how to optimize your settings for Hytale, and this is a great addition because now you can actually see it by your FPS counter, what the changes that you made did for you. Player markers have been improved. They now appear on the compass. Player names also render on the map. Height differences show up and down on the indicators, and map visibility toggles have been added. So for accessibility, there's also now the opophobia mode that turns snake models into hatworms. So less, and I probably said opophilia wrong, but you know what I mean, the snake phobia. All right, audio and visual effects. Audio and visual effects saw some solid updates too. So all missing basic Rex blocks have been added. Inventory sounds for bones were updated, and a bug in the Howling Sands cave track was fixed. And all food particle tints were also updated. All right, bug fixes. Let's talk about general bug fixes, the attack and the stability. So this is a pretty big patch too because there's a lot of stuff done on the server side. So a server auto update system has been introduced. So this is complete with the configuration options. So new commands, player notifications, stage updates, and backup support. Rendering shadows were improved. Creative mode, middle click, pick block now works correctly even when your hotbar is full, and the asset editor now displays the documents in the tooltips. Manually detection issues were fixed. So this is clearing keybinds now that were persistent across sessions. Weather transitions are smoother, and the teleporter collision issues were resolved. Rail carts, bed respawning, collision checks, container refilling, oversized placement previews, cosmetic text bugs, and map teleportation permissions were all fixed or improved as well. Server stability saw major improvements across validation, ECS, and localization and timeouts. I know a lot of people were having issues with this. I saw a lot of people commenting about it. Hopefully, this is going to fix their issues for them. Emerald Wilds dungeons and other environments were fixed. You might even hear a new soundtrack. So we had some music added, right? And finally, multiple player marker bugs were resolved, making map navigation much smoother. All right, so this is a really solid patch, really well rounded, covering a bunch of the issues that people were seeing, even adding some new stuff into the game, tons of quality of life improvements, meaningful progression changes, and all the technical stuff in the background being in here. I think this patch is fantastic. So if this breakdown helped you out, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other Hytale guides, like I mentioned, my settings guide, and then also my how to create a non-dedicated server guide. They're both up on our YouTube channel here. Don't forget to subscribe and have yourself a great day.